and give people like the last 30 seconds, I guess, to jump on in, and we'll get this community call going. Zoom is in the Zoom for screen share is in Sage Chat, as well as the slides, as well as the worksheet that we use right here. All ready to go. But yeah, normally I let things run just a little over, but got something I gotta do right after this, closing on my house, so, or the one that I'm selling. So got to make this pretty punctual, but we still got the whole hour if we need it. Just can't go over 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right. Well, welcome to the 8th community call. Big ups to Ron and Hunt and all the people who helped run it last time, Toasty, for last week. But I'm back and super pumped to get back into the DAO. So the agenda is the same as it always is. What our goals are, announcements, which I always forget to add to this, and once again forgot to add to the slide. Community bounties in the pipeline, quick review of the process, and then if anybody has a discussion that they want to start or a marketing idea that they want to pitch, that's what it's all for. So a couple of announcements. One is to reiterate something that I said a couple weeks ago, but we've had just myself and Hunt in the past couple of days have had this reinforced. And so we have been receiving feedback from potential talent and recruiters that we've been working with. The concern is the 4-month tenures of work streams. Basically, we're getting feedback from people that are saying, well, if I start working with you guys, does that mean in 4 months that like my job is over or I'm going to have to reapply for a job? I think that it is a something that can be worked on via a messaging, that when people are signed on to work streams and are working for work streams, that their tenure, I suppose, can last past the 4 months. But it's certainly something that we are running into in terms of feedback from recruiters and from people that we're working with. I'm in the process of writing up a forum post about kind of the direction that marketing and growth is going to be moving in. But a sneak preview for the people on this call is that we don't want to be sending out a message for our second term starting in January of 22 with like a, hey, we tried some things and they didn't quite work out and we'll do things differently next time. What we're trying to do is we're going to pivot away from relying exclusively on bounties and more towards just getting talent in the door and starting to build. The current hypothesis that we're working under is that there's just there needs to be far more people in the Discord, maybe two or three times as many, for us to go to a full bounty model. And some people are really good with working with bounties. Arena and Ron PTT, great examples of that. But other contributors that we've found that are highly talented that we want to come work with us have expressed reluctance. And it is the position of our work stream that we'd rather get stuff done rather than try to do things pure or the right way in giant air quotes, because I don't think there is a right way. And so that's sort of going to be a forum post that I'm putting out in the next couple of days of sort of like what the direction of this is in general. And then a tracking conversation. It remains ongoing unless it was resolved on my week out, but I looked back through the chat and it didn't seem like that it was. So it has direct implications for the work stream and what was proposed when we launched it. And we may need to match the work stream goals and modify them to match the new framework. I have a call tomorrow alongside Toasty with some centralized foxes that are still left at ShapeShift Corporate about the future of some of those programs and how they might be used or funded or both moving forward. And that will start lending some clarity, as well as the conversation continuing about Pendo and what that may look like. So we are currently, as a DAO, trying to figure out what our stance is on all that, and we'll continue to move forward. Wanted to also welcome a couple of new contributors. Arena, she is in chat right now, is joined up as a copywriter and a blogger, and Monstrosity from Agave and all sorts of integrations on that side, XDI, is joining on as an integration specialist, working to build partnerships and in places that will bring utility to the Fox token, and looking to push that forward as much as possible. Couple of upcoming promos, Ichi and One Fox. Also GigaChad and ShapeShiftDAO. We might do a co-marketing thing with them. We have an exploratory call also scheduled for tomorrow. And then something that we've already signed off on is Elk Finance and ShapeShiftDAO, courtesy of Monstrosity, bringing in the first bounty there. We will be supplying some funding for liquidity mining and benefits on the new platform, which then allows Fox to be in more places and get into more hands and more wallets. So those are some upcoming promos, as well as sort of the Urine and V2 that's coming up. But we have the go no go tomorrow on that, so I felt it was a little premature to just drop it on this here slide. And the current goals: Twitter follower count, satellite communications. They create a system where users can propose marketing efforts and get paid. That is done. There's no strike through on this, which is great. As well as the rest of this stuff. This is all heavily dependent on the results of our conversations about tracking. And so, not to jump too far ahead, we just want to make sure that we are continuing to work towards these goals until we see guidance otherwise. And like I mentioned, plenty of conversations that'll be happening soon to find clarity on all of these things. There are some current jobs and bounties available. YouTube impression mining, TikTok impression mining, looking for more POAP artists, looking for backup copywriters behind Arena, a crypto gaming advocate, a Keep Key and hardware wallet advocate. All of those are bounties that are available and posted to our Notion board, as well as some of them are on layer 3. They're ready right now to be claimed. Anybody who wants to help further the DAO, they're there. And then we're looking for a social media and community manager, marketing and growth specialist, and we're still looking for an email marketing manager with a copywriting background. So those are where we are looking to find help and continue to grow the work stream so that we can get more done and continue to move in 100 different directions at 100 miles an hour. A quick review of what bounties look like. You can either propose it by attending this meeting, make a pitch, or go to the Notion Job and Bounty Board and follow the process. And then as people like Ron and other people will tell you, Arena as well, we meet with you, privately so that we can talk about compensation and things like that in a private setting so you don't expose your personal information to, any more than who's necessary. We agree to parameters, and then we go DAO it. So this is the part of the meeting where we turn it back over to the community. And if there's anybody that has a pitch or a marketing idea that we want to start chatting about, and wants the marketing growth workstream start running down, now's the time. And I'll just leave it open for anybody who wants to jump on stage. If you can, that's great. If you can't, raise your hand and we will bring you on stage. All right. While we're waiting for maybe some ideas to mull over, I can go into a little more detail into some of the upcoming promos that we're looking at. So obviously the Ichi One Fox went through the governance process. We are super pumped about that. Meetings over this week, and we've got a press release coming out, social push, things like that. We are very much on top of what that's going to look like. GigaChad is a very interesting sort of proposal that we have yet to really flesh out fully. We've just been sort of introduced and we're starting the conversation. But essentially, they are a large Discord group of and seed group of investors and speculators. And they have a service where we can basically link up with them. They have skilled technical analysts and also, sort of crypto social analysts generate a report on what Fox looks like in its current state, its usability, how it may affect the market, and everything like that. Um, they have and they are a sort of a seed Discord for a bunch of different trading Discords. They claim to have a reach of a little over 800,000 people, which I'm skeptical about, and we'll be asking them about that tomorrow. But the way that Crusher and I have been or Hunt and I have been kind of handling this and pushing it forward. Toasty's being onboarded tomorrow with the whole thing. He was at NFT NYC. Is we were thinking maybe a pre-post. If the price is reasonable and it helps generate some content and sort of an objective look at the project and the DAO as a whole, and then brings that message out to the wider Discord, we were thinking possibly a pre-post, pre-V2, and how we currently look as of now, and then maybe post V2 and a few more integrations to see how things may have changed. And that may be an excellent way to continue getting the word out about what we are doing and continuing the narrative of seamless integration and what ShapeShift V2 can do for the greater crypto ecosystem. So that's really cool. And Alk Finance basically just received a huge sum of funding through one of their projects, and this is actually something that Monstrosity, who's our new integration specialist, hooked us up with and started this process with us, where we're basically claiming a bounty from their DAO is essentially how this is kicking off. So we are basically saying, hey, we are willing to incentivize, some LPing on that platform, which makes use of the XDAI network, XFox in general, and so we are trying to push forward that promotion. It includes co-marketing in terms of tweets and blog posts and an AMA, which we're hoping that we can get Willie and John on specifically to help push that forward in sort of a DAO to DAO connection. Very excited for what that may produce for us. And thus far, the price seems super reasonable and pretty much a no-brainer, given the amount of co-marketing that goes along with it. And sort of as we continue to look for guidance as a work stream from the DAO in general as to how we philosophically feel about tracking and what we are going to implement, and then from a technical perspective, as our work stream specifically continues to work with centralized foxes that have, insight and power over how some transitions of tools are going to work and what is allowed and not allowed. Um, we are still working towards the goals that are on slide 5, as always, but also beginning to look forward as to, if guidance comes out that, we are going to have a less comprehensive tracking capability than we had at centralized Shapeshift, which a lot of these metrics sort of require a more comprehensive approach. Fox in people's wallets, putting the product in people's hand in a cost-effective way that, especially in ways that connect communities or build utility into the token itself. Those are things that we are concentrating on as we continue to look to grow the DAO, get the message out there, and we are super excited to continue this process as well as starting the narrative publicly around V2 and what that means for the greater ecosystem.
Hey Toasty, I actually have a question for you. Do you have any like sweet alpha after NYC NFT? Because me and Willie had a conversation today with a team that is looking to like integrate NFTs sorta or like sales sort of into Shapeshift. I'm not sure how it's gonna work technically. They're coming up with like a proposal to present the community pretty soon, but I'm curious to see like what direction we're thinking about taking these.
Ye- Yeah, so I guess the big takeaway, which was actually pretty exciting for me to see after being centralized so long, was the amount of people that um, knew about Shapeshift and what we did. So that was kind of cool. So being able to say, hey, here's like, essentially my like virtual business card. This is what I'm doing for the DAO. And a lot of people in the NFT community that have been there a little bit longer, some of the projects, were just kind of congratulating us on what we did and, really paying attention to what we're doing. So that was kind of cool to see, like, the fruition of our labor that we've been working on for like the past 2 years since I've been at ShapeShift. There are a couple integrations that I was talking to while I was there. A couple of them are like NFT, like social media platforms that are going to be ways to display all of your NFTs, but like jumble all your links together, whether it's your ENS address, whether it's your Discord, your Telegram. And they were looking for wallet partnerships. They're looking for integrations for being able to tip inside their platform. So I had a couple of those conversations. I did go to one of the parties where Blau and I chatted for a minute. He was super excited for all the work that we've helped him with, like him doing the AMA with us, but also at Centralized Shapeshift and Portis. And shout out to John and Eric for bringing him into the ecosphere. He was super happy to be working with us. Really excited of all the stuff that we've been doing, and is a huge fan of ours. Other than that, just a couple other meetings with some of the gaming platforms that were just kind of curious of where like we're headed as a DAO, like what kind of integrations we're looking at to possibly, be the wallet that helps some of these, gaming things make it easier to onboard users. So that's kind of like the takeaway a little bit. I have a couple meetings this week, and as I start fleshing those out a little bit, but some big communities out there, kind of like Mojito NFT. I have a meeting, with the CEO coming up later this week. So some big stuff out there.
Yeah, appreciate that rundown. That sort of dovetails nicely into the conversation that Hunt and I had while we were onboarding Monstrosity into the work stream. We are asking him and sort of asking in general to break up our integration phasing into two phases. So the first phase is going to be all about building utility into the Fox token, and we tasked him with starting in the crypto gaming space in places where holding Fox tokens in the wallet that you use could get you skins for the games that you play or a bonus on the in-game currency or whatever it may be, which then opens the door for the fact that when V2 comes out, which is sort of the second stage, like at that point anybody can just use our code to set up a swapper immediately. And that's really what we are looking forward to being able to pitch to people, and starting with integrations there where why build your own wallet and swapping ecosystem when you have one that's ready made and ready to go. And on top of that, if you build you build some utility in for Fox, that you have a community that's already looking at you and is aware of you right away. So there's a built-in sort of network effect to integrating it, and he seemed very keen on how that works. We ultimately ended up choosing that direction, even though it's not something that we have aggressively pursued in the past, mostly as a way to try and reduce the asks on devs on our side. Monstrosity took us through a lot of the work that he's done for Agave and XDAI and projects that he's already a part of. And he says that generally speaking, a large bottleneck ends up being the dev time, the people to do the PRs and whatever it takes to actually push through a finalized integration. But in his experience, the crypto gaming space already has the muscles to do that lifting on our behalf, so that it's generally much easier to execute on those integrations. So that's a way for sort of everybody to get a peek behind the curtain as to why we're excited to move in that direction, especially trying to find ways to build more utility into the Fox token and start creating those bridges now so that we're ready for V2.
Yeah, another thing that I wanted to bring up again, since I see LPX and Great Machine here, is I don't see the Smith, but I've been talking to him like frequently, and like Pete, we've been like working out that we've been like expanding that Latin American like focused marketing effort through the Smith, and he's doing like a really great job. So I just want to give him props publicly for that. They've put together like a lot of really cool stuff. They have like 3 or 4 spreadsheets that I know the Smith hasn't like shared yet, but he's got some interesting data and some interesting like cross community partnerships in the works, and like various interviews and like content networks being created. So it's pretty cool to see.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, enjoying working with the Smith, and he's tapping us into a great LATAM community in general. The newsletter that started going out last week, I hope people have been able to catch it. Props to Arena for that. The Smith put us in contact with the designer there that's um, starting to work on some example templates to then be submitted to brand standards for review. So LATAM is a nice hungry market, and one where I think philosophically ShapeShift aligns very well for what they need really. So hopefully that might have jogged somebody into wanting to pitch something, and if not, no pressure. But I'll give it about 10 more seconds, and then um, I'm sure we all got work to do, so there's no reason to take up more time than necessary. We can give back time. Checking the stage chat. Smith is out of pocket. Yeah, I believe so. We chatted with him yesterday or Saturday. Yesterday was Sunday. I was off Sunday, but we were talking with him on Saturday. Doesn't look like anything in stage chat. One last call. If anybody wants to pitch a marketing idea or just any ideas in general. All right. Sweet. So we'll bring Lo-Fi Radio back up here. And yeah, we'll get back to it. Happy dowing, and let's dow it.